Welcome, everyone, diving right in. It's fascinating how this discussion tackles the very core of capitalism and its unexpected impacts on our social fabric, right?
Absolutely. It's intriguing. What stands out is how the profit motive essentially reduces everything humanity, empathy, even compassion to a simple cost benefit analysis, yeah?
Exactly. It's like you'll only get hired if the company can, well, make more money off your work than they pay you.
Yep.
That idea, in its simplest form, strips away the humanity from the employment relationship.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the whole system is built around this idea where, well, the only metric that really matters is profit, and anything else, like emotional well being, is just an inconvenient extra?
Right, and that's the crucial point. The underpinning of capitalism, as argued here, is that the profit motive overrides compassion and empathy, which critically, as Dr. Frad highlights, leads to what she calls sociopathic mental illness.
Yeah, and think about that. If empathy isn't counted as good business, then we end up in a situation where lack of care becomes the norm in the workplace.
Exactly. It's like, picture building a house when you don't care if the walls will hurt anyone who leans against them later. You just focus on functionality and cost, not the impact on the people living inside. That's the severity of the structure we're dealing with, a system that's designed to prioritize profit over people.
It makes you wonder, is it that capitalism in itself inherently breeds these um, sociopathic tendencies? Or is it perhaps the way it's currently practiced that pushes empathy out of the picture?
Good question. The argument here seems to be that the very logic of capitalism, by its design, forces us into this position. Companies, by nature, only engage in work if there's a profit incentive, and that leaves no room for moral or compassionate considerations.
Right?
It's almost like the system rewards a kind of emotional callousness.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think some might argue that capitalism also leads to rapid innovation and efficiency, which in some ways benefit society?
That's a fair point, and I totally get that. While capitalism has driven tremendous progress and innovation, the critique here is more about these collateral effects like mental health issues and the nurturing of sociopathic behaviors among individuals. It's not an outright dismissal of capitalism's benefits, but a call to re examine its ethical dimensions.
Right, because if we only focus on profit, we risk normalizing a detached, almost mechanistic approach to dealing with people. That's where the worry is, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. When companies adopt a narrow definition of good business, the emphasis falls solely on making money, even if that means neglecting the well being of workers. It becomes this vicious cycle where the measure of success is exclusively financial, leaving no space for empathy.
And this, in turn, spills over into the broader society, right? The same logic affects our social interactions and personal lives, creating a feedback loop where compassion is undervalued.
Exactly, it's a ripple effect. The structure of capitalism not only changes how businesses operate, but also how people relate to one another, turning social interactions into transactions, so to speak.
But here's something I'm pondering. If we acknowledge these issues, could we possibly redirect capitalism to include empathy as a core value? Surely not every business has to operate as if the bottom line is all that matters.
That's a really insightful challenge. While the system is structured around profit, there's room, at least in theory, for reimagining good business. We could redefine success to include ethical practices, social well being, and genuine care for employees. But that means
Yep.
like a systemic overhaul, not just isolated acts of kindness here and there.
Right. It seems like a delicate balance. Capitalism fuels innovation, but when its profit driven nature becomes overly dominant, it creates these adverse mental and social effects.
Exactly. It's a bit like having a double edged sword. While it cuts deep for progress, it can also inflict serious wounds on our social psyche. The video really drives home how deeply interwoven these issues are.
And that's such an important reminder that our economic system isn't just about figures and markets, it's fundamentally tied to the well being of society.
Absolutely. It pushes us to think about what we value most and whether our current practices truly serve the collective good. It's a call to rethink the metrics of success in a way that includes human dignity and compassion.
Yep, it's a challenging conversation, but one that's critical if we're to address both economic and social health.
Right on. While capitalism has many benefits, understanding and mitigating its darker impacts is essential if we want a society that's not only prosperous, but also humane.
Exactly. And as we continue these discussions, it's key to balance critique with recognition of progress, maybe pushing for reforms that integrate ethics into the very core of business.
Definitely, it calls for a thoughtful approach, rethinking policies, encouraging compassionate practices, and perhaps redefining good business in a way that doesn't sacrifice our humanity on the altar of profit.
Well said. These ideas not only challenge existing norms, but more importantly, invite us to envision a future where our economic models uplift rather than devalue us as individuals.
Exactly, and that's the power of this conversation. It's a wake up call, inviting us as a society to strive for a system that truly values the well being of everyone involved.
Right. Thank you for walking through this rich and complex topic. It definitely gives us a lot to chew on as we think about the intersection of business and personal lives.
No problem. It's been an engaging discussion, a true reflection on how deeply our economic systems can shape our minds and our communities.
Till next time, let's keep questioning and exploring how we can build a more compassionate economic future.